All right, what is up, you guys? Welcome to another Bleach Boys podcast, episode 4. We're actually done with the Bount arc. We're recapping the finale. We're done with that. We're moving on to the Arrancar arc next episode. So, if you want to skip,
rules.
I don't blame you. So, where we left off, Ishida got his shit pushed in by the girl with the fan and the sword, Bount. And it was just a dumb fight nobody cared about.
Except he wanted it to continue and he wanted all the attention back on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me tell you that he declares immediately, this is like right when we're opening up, he wants to put an end to this meaningless battle, is what he says, quotes. But it's not meaningless. It's never been meaningless.
Yeah.
It's like the Soul Society is fucked over the Bounts about a million times.
And I feel like he's also the reason it's happening.
Yeah.
So fuck you, Ishida.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And it's like, so we get this whole little fight with him, and I really didn't enjoy this part. I'll probably say this is my least favorite fight of the whole arc.
Wow.
Because it's basically Ishida trying to use his little artifact, and he's like, oh, I just can't figure out how to use the power. Or it's like
to gauge all the power
every
and everything.
3 shots, I can only shoot at max power. It's like, God, Ishida, you know what? I'm glad you're figuring this out, but I don't give a fuck. So
I'm cool with the calculating in the head thing. Okay, I've got this.
Yeah.
This is how I have to make this work.
It would have been cool if you hear the Death Note little doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
He's just in his own head.
And I shoot an arrow with a potato chip, something like that, it would have been great. But no, it feels like, hey, I want to put an end to this. I called you out. I can do this.
Yeah.
How do I do this?
It is very much that.
That's
It's like, I'm going to put
stupid.
it into this. Like, okay, so I can't control the power. I'm having trouble aiming it. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I've lost my leg already. She's cut my leg off.
Yeah. So luckily, we kind of switch away from that fight because I think the people doing the show know nobody gives a fuck about that.
Fair.
Yep.
And we get to see Kariya and Koga. I'm sorry, Kariya. Talking.
Kariya.
So, and Koga, like I remember from my memory, he is getting pissed at Kariya because, your plan is kind of dumb. What are you doing? Because he officially has the crest now, so he's, uber powerful. He's just, at least that he brags he's uber powerful. So Koga's like, dude, if you're so powerful, why don't you just make everybody, bow down to you, and then you can reform it yourself? We don't have to kill all these people.
Yeah.
It's, it's just so unnecessary. And basically, they kind of have a little tuffle in an alleyway where Koga's like, dude, please, I don't want to fight you, but it's you don't have to kill everybody because there's a lot of innocence in the Soul Society.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of innocence.
Not everyone's a Soul Reaper.
Yeah. And basically it ends, Koga slams Kariya against the wall, and Kariya fucking stabs him in the stomach.
Oh
no,
Yeah.
I thought he was the one that survived.
Yeah, well, he gets stabbed in the stomach, and Kariya walks away, doesn't finish him off, and just says, thank you for everything, and leaves. So,
hey, at least he thanked him for his services.
more than what
That's
most
more-
of the other
yeah,
Bounts
yeah,
got
exactly.
because they got dicked.
Yeah.
So we're back. All right, we're back to the Ishida fight. Everybody missed it already. We're back.
Wow. Just enough time for Koga to bleed out.
Here's where we find out he gets a flashback from his grandpa.
I want to die.
Okay,
Poppy?
And did you guys know Quincy's released their arrows from the heart in the name of justice? That's how
I
their
Wow.
powers
I
work.
actually do remember
I had-
this.
I- yeah.
It's so fucking stupid.
You didn't like it, Josh? I thought you would like something like that.
Oh God!
I guess I hate when people explain how power works after they've been using the power for years.
years?
And it's like,
It's
cool.
not like Dragon Ball Z where they're like, you can float or you can fly if you think of happy thoughts.
Yeah, it's like they established the precedent. Now it's just like, hey, you know what? Let's do a feel-good moment real quick.
Yeah.
And my heart injustice.
Because there was this internal monologue that was happening that Ishida, he kind of wanted revenge because they killed his side piece, his woman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and then he found the real version.
Yeah, so then he gets a flashback of his grandma being like, yo, you stop with the revenge, dog. It's you gotta do it for justice, which is basically revenge under a different name. So
Okay.
so here's
Batman.
where we get a let me explain the sword and the fan bounce powers to you guys, okay?
Okay.
So she has a fan, she has a sword. And you can pretty much guess what they do. The fan blocks shit, the sword attacks shit, whatever.
Oh.
Wow.
But then they can merge, and so she can become kind of a more offensive type where she gets a cool arm, and then she can get a defensive type where the fan becomes really big and like a circular shield.
Gotcha.
It opens up all the way.
So she's pretty much got the full spectrum.
Yeah.
No,
So
got it covered. Sword and shield.
Yeah.
you find out, Ishida puts this together, by the way. He notices that when she transforms from her attack mode to her defense mode,
There's a fucking time in between.
there is a time in between
Yep.
because so the way it works, she can't go straight from attack to defense. She has to go attack, normal mode, then defense. Or defense, normal mode, then attack. She can't go straight from one to the other.
God.
What a pussy.
How long
Just
has
stay
she
in
been
one.
alive?
A while,
I
yeah.
would almost consider, hey, maybe I've got defenses for
That's
these
a pretty big hole.
Yeah.
Very big hole. So what Ishida did to end the fight here, we're coming up on the end, he waited for her to jump in the air off of a defensive attack. And then when she went to go attack Ishida, he just waited for her to switch and then got really close and shot her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she pretty much accepts that because that's where we get the explanation. She gets shot. This is all a flashback explanation of how he figured it out. And she just goes, well, it's been fun, and turns to dust. I respect that. I actually don't mind that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like yesterday when we figured out that you're the bad guy, and then if everybody thinks it, might as well kill yourself off.
Yeah.
I see. We've talked about like the whole tropes thing. Like you can't tell everything brand new.
Yeah.
So like when you do something like that, obviously okay, there's got to be a timing thing when she's switching. She can't be broken. She's got to have some issue. And then, but just to be like, it's okay, cool, thanks, GG.
Yeah. So she gets dusted. So now we're down to, as far as we know, just Kariya. He is the last one left.
Yeah, Koga's bleeding out.
We know Koga's still alive, but
Koga's bleeding out.
Yeah,
in my head canon.
He's bleeding out. So then we get to see Rantau. All right, everybody, what's Rantau been up to? And she's just kind of hanging out on a tower in the middle of the Seireitei. It's like I would assume people would know she was there, but like that's kind of where
she's chilling. That's her chill spot.
That's where this episode kind of ends. You see she's in the Seireitei, just kind of hanging out.
Okay.
And so we go to Ukitake. What has he been doing? He hasn't been
Coughing up
around
blood?
because he's sick. You know what you expect.
Wait, was Ukitake a part of this at all?
Not really.
No. Okay. Oh yeah, I was wondering how he was
You're
doing.
like, wait.
So that's why we're going to him now. We find out that he is pretty much. He's like, okay, I'm gonna be the research guy. So he goes to like the central library where they have fuck tons of books, and he's just basically looking for stuff by Rantau because she used to be a researcher. So like all of her shit is published.
Yeah.
So he's just basically combing through the whole thing. He finds out there is information about the Jōkai crest in there, but she. When she was publishing the research, she split it between a bunch of other books so that they couldn't destroy all of them.
Oh, okay.
So then, Chill Captain, who I can never remember his name,
Kiraku.
he shows up and he's like, hey, bud. It's like, I got a job for you. It's like, so they basically spend a long time just searching through all of the other books trying to find
drunk the whole
information.
time?
They were basically chilling.
Yeah.
They were basically both just sitting on the ground, chatting, having fun.
I like that though. Those two are such.
They were just
like,
vibing.
Yeah,
man. They
they're
were just
vibing.
So I thought it was interesting to note too, before we move off of them in the library, when the Chill Captain shows up, he does make an offhand comment like, "Wow, for someone faking a sickness, you have a really good cough." I'm like, "Wait, what?
What?" So he's
like,
what?
So I don't know if they thought he's faking a sickness because so put yourself in the mindset of the writers for this, okay?
Yeah.
We had the Soul Society arc, okay, and from what we know. They were saying he's sick.
Yeah.
Then he shows up and he has a whole game plan ready at the end that he's been working on, and he fights. Totally okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this arc, that's all they know. It's like, oh yeah, was he sick? Is he faking being sick?
Oh.
They could have been like, oh, hey, is your sickness coming back? Like, you feeling any worse or something?
So this could easily also be a like him kind of jabbing at him like he knows.
Yeah.
Like, oh, for someone who's faking to be sick, because maybe he hasn't told the other captains yet.
Yeah.
So there is a way to write it off, but I thought that was interesting.
It could also be just like how my back problems were made up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be like that. We get to come back to Ishida. Everybody loves Ishida.
Of course.
And he's basically wandering around because he's fucked up at this point. He did take a lot of damage in that fight. He should have been dead realistically, but what can you do?
Yeah.
And so he sees a vision of his grandpa. Basically, he shows up. He's like, dude, I know you want to keep fighting, but you need to chill out. It's like, you're done. It's like, you've done enough.
His grandpa's
like,
a Force Ghost?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I'm
yes,
done
Force
with it.
Ghost. So, and then he kind of was like, dude, if you keep fighting, you're going to die. And Ishida's like, no, I have to. It's like, God, who gives a fuck?
Of course.
But he's in Soul Society, so I mean, it's fine.
Yeah,
He's just gonna,
true. You just show back up. Round
repop
2.
right there.
Round 2.
Respawn.
So he meets up with Ichigo and Chad, and then
just some random little
like,
village. Hello?
So right after he has that talk with the Force Ghost, he sees Ichigo and Chad, and then Ishida immediately is like, I want to fight. I want to go with you guys.
I would love if he just saw them and then passed out. That would have been the way to go, but no.
So he's like, yeah, I want to fight.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Koga because like, oh my God, he's bleeding out on the ground. What's happening? He just heals because Bounce can heal in this society,
that's
right?
right, yeah.
And Kariya's been doing it a million times over.
So he knows. So Kariya probably knew that he was gonna heal himself.
I gotta imagine that as well.
Yeah.
Because out of all the Bounce, they were the closest, Koga and Kariya.
So you think he was pretty much just like, hey, bud, I don't want you to die, but like
he was kind of like, just stay the fuck out of my way.
Yeah.
Like let me do my thing.
Yeah. I'll invite you into this.
Sam, would you be able to stab one of us? Let's say
Yeah,
stab
easily,
Josh,
yes,
right?
Yes,
Easily.
we already know this.
Okay.
And Koga kind of talks to
He's like,
himself,
easily.
saying that he's basically in his mind, we don't need to blow up the Soul Society, like I said. because of innocent kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Because remember the fight when he had with Ichigo? He's like, "Oh, I've seen lots of young people die."
Yeah,
he
doesn't
like
like
it.
that. Yeah,
Not to get dark, but a lot of those kids in Soul Society probably did die from some level of a bombing.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
or,
definitely
just,
something
like, murder.
gnarly.
Or
Yeah.
they got eaten in the real
Yeah.
world. It's like
Yeah.
they have a myriad of problems they could go through.
Yeah, so I think it's justifiable to then see them in the afterlife that they were supposed to be promised, and then be like, hey, you know what? Dicking on you,
Yeah.
especially.
You're
That's
still a poor fucker.
That's good to know that Koga's like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a little too much.
Yeah. Oh.
So he does kind of walk around because he's still trying to find Kariya. Like he's still kind of like doing that, I don't know, like injured walk trying to find him.
Oh, the walking up against
yeah.
Yeah, but
against
he's
the
pretty
wall.
much healed. So
Oh.
it's like he's just kind of
Okay.
So and
All
he's
right.
trying to be a little
He's
bit
hobbling.
stealthy about it. Like he doesn't want to fight people. He just wants to find Kariya. But of course he keeps running into Shinigamis. And so he fist fights a couple of them.
Oh, hey.
Damn.
Which I thought was interesting because he's just like a regular human,
yeah.
pretty much. But he has a doll. But he's really strong and has lived for a long time.
I thought they were like enhanced powers, and then they can
So
absorb.
I
Yeah.
don't think you get the enhanced powers unless you like fuse with your Bount.
Oh.
So
Well, that makes sense.
in Soul Society, they do claim they are stronger, but it's still like so are the Shinigami that are there,
Yeah.
even if you're fighting peasant Shinigamis. So it's weird that he can just fist fight a couple of them. It's kind of like the Ichigo problem when he took on the fucking
too
4 vice
powerful.
captains.
Yeah.
So of course he starts kind of fighting him, and that tips off Hitsugaya. Hitsugaya is the one who notices like, yo, all my guys are reporting that they're getting their shit kicked in, and like that's probably a Bount, you know.
Oh,
Who would've
Hitsugaya's
guessed?
guys again.
So Hitsugaya and Matsumoto, they meet up with Renji, and then Renji has the transforming mod soul. I can't ever remember their fucking names.
The guy with the top hat.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And Hitsugaya is fucking smart as hell. He's like, yeah, can I borrow that? He's like, let me borrow that really quick. Because Rengigu is like, yeah, that thing can track the bounce. And Hitsugaya's like, I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that really quick.
Wow.
Yeah,
some
you
smart
know the
plays.
child
Yeah.
prodigy, dude.
So we cut back to Koga, and of course, he's trying to get to Kariya. He doesn't really want to fight. He's trying his best to avoid everybody. And then Hitsugaya starts using his men to kind of like push Koga to a certain area. You know, kind of like funnel him somewhere he wants to go.
I gotta say, in my normal mind, if I didn't already know that Koga's probably coming out of this alive, I'd be sad as fuck right now.
Yeah.
Because this is like the lone wolf trying to like come back to the pack, and it was just like defending itself, and it's like, no, you're gonna die.
That stresses me out too. This is, I would say, let's say a trope where it's like there is a bad guy, but he's really a good guy.
Yeah.
But then the good guys won't see that he's also a
Also a
good
good
guy,
guy.
so
Yeah.
they keep fighting him.
and he can't not defend himself, and so now he's getting pushed into a corner.
because like
just
if he turns himself in, he's gonna be arrested.
Yeah.
And then it's like he's not gonna be able to do anything.
And the way Soul Society works, he's probably executed by now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
And then another supervillain floats off to fucking Hueco Mundo. It's like, this was all part of my plan. Like, oh,
Slicks
fuck.
his hair back too.
So Koga starts to put together that like, because he's fighting a lot of guys, and he's like, "Yo, they're all using this butterfly to communicate. So I'm just gonna take out the butterflies." Like, so if you remember, his doll is like the metallic spider,
Yeah.
like masochist
Doll
woman.
thingy, yeah.
And so he has her like split into a bunch of little pieces, and then just takes them out all at once. Like shoots them up in the air, and then just rains down and takes out all the butterflies. So Hitsugaya comes through and he's like, hey, well, that's not working anymore. So he comes to check on his men. He does notice, he takes note of the fact that Koga is not killing any of them. He's been very
he's just
careful not
beating
killing
them.
any of them. And then the mod soul basically sends like, hey, Koga's coming. Like, heads up. He's coming right towards us.
He's about to fist fight you.
Yeah, so,
Does he go Bankai?
well, not yet. Because
Like, out him like that.
Hitsugaya and Matsumoto are still there. Like, they're together. And Hitsugaya's like, I'm going to fight him by myself. You can go, Matsumoto. And she's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it by myself.
I'd be really pissed, because this is on the Soifon level for me. Like, two captains, I think Hitsugaya is on the same
Yeah.
level as her. Dude.
That's
It's like,
fun.
yeah,
Like, he could be cool.
like he's broken as fuck. Could do a lot of. He gets his ass handed to him like every time. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
So I feel
Why's he
like,
gotta be a kid?
Yeah.
So they start to fight, obviously. And Hitsugaya freezes his doll
Oh.
because, you know, it's like she's like metallic.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
So as it gets colder, it's just
she basically freezes and kind of shatters, but then she separates her own self and puts herself together, but then she's super cooled. So it's kind of like the ending of the Fantastic Four movie that was shit. And so Koga at this point, he's like telling his doll to stop. Like he's like
yeah.
he's like, dude, it's like you have to stop. It's like you're gonna like, because he knows like you're basically frozen, you're gonna get fucked up.
And if you die, I die.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's like, no, I'm gonna keep going.
the doll talks.
And yeah, all the dolls talk. Every single one of the
Yeah,
dolls
she's
talk.
like a big spider.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember she was a
yeah,
spider.
and
but I
she's
forgot
like a
she-
masochist. She
Yeah.
loves like picking on people and stuff.
Yeah.
She's
getting-
Virgo.
Yeah. Well, no.
No, Virgo likes being punished.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind.
Let's say he's revealing something.
At this point, Hitsugai's in the air, kind of just still fighting. The doll jumps at him. He freezes it pretty much completely like in an icicle. She falls to the ground and shatters.
Oh, no.
So, and as the doll is evaporating, it tells Koga that she's glad that he was with her till the end and evaporates. So it was really sad. And then we see Koga, and he's still alive.
Why?
How?
So Hitsugaya asked that question.
Oh!
Hitsugaya is like, your doll just died. How are you?
And then he just like slow reveals, and it's his face comes off, and it's Kane.
Kane!
That was my master's doll. I was just using that.
I would die.
So Koga explains that he's alive because his doll is actually still alive. Surprise.
Oh.
And then he summons, which I don't remember this at all.
Yeah.
He summons like a big axe, like a giant axe. And he's like, yeah, this is actually like my real doll. It's like her core. It's like, so this is her final like thing. That is her form she takes. And like, so basically, if I could put it to like, Renji Zanpakutō, how he has the baboon that he sees.
Yeah.
If that could take actual form, that's kind of like what was happening.
But it's an axe.
But realistically, it's an axe, and that's the core.
Is the axe always there, or is it when she's defeated, he turns back into an axe?
They don't explain it, but I assume it's when she's defeated.
So like an Angemon, like I've been defeated, but I turn back into a Patamon egg?
I assume that's what happens.
All right.
Because it's literally her core, is what he says. So, and at this point, he asks Hitsugaya to step aside. So we get a very Stark and chill captain setup where like Stark is like, dude, can we just not?
Yeah.
And of course Hitsugaya is like, nah, sorry. And then he goes Bankai.
What the fuck?
So yep.
He just has
He
to
has
do
an
it.
axe.
Yeah.
He could literally stop everything he's doing. He's just like, you know what? I'm going to just start working on the fields. It's been great.
So Hitsugaya goes Bankai. They charge each other. They do some clashing of blades. Then Hitsugaya does kind of a smart move and just decides to stay up in the air. He's like, oh, you've only got an axe. Like, I'll just hang out in the air.
Yeah.
And he does the thing where he, like, basically makes giant ice pillars. Like, he's shooting down giant ice dragons. They leave pillars behind everywhere. And so Koga takes his axe, knocks a couple of them down, uses it to run up to where Hitsugaya is.
What a guy,
and
dude.
smacks his dumbass out of the air.
Yeah, see, I feel like Hitsugaya deserved that. Yeah.
So,
is he still freaking out about his pedals?
His pedals.
Like the
yes and no. They do show in this fight that it is like ticking down,
okay.
but he doesn't seem to really care.
Okay, because I didn't know if they knew what happens later on.
They obviously don't.
Yeah.
But they kind of just assume like, oh, my pedals, and then he just keeps fighting. That's it.
Because I forget, because I feel like I haven't remember when we did the when we were going through the Soul Society, we didn't talk about it. So he has like a time-based
Bankai?
He
has three like lotus petal things behind
flowers,
him. And they slowly like disintegrate the longer he's in his Bankai or the more power he uses out of it. And then he always made a big deal about like, oh, I'm running out of time. You know?
Like he's gonna lose it.
We know
that when he runs out of time, he goes adult form for some reason.
Becomes broken as fuck.
Yeah,
super
everything
broken.
is fucking frozen.
Yeah, ouch.
Which is dope.
So which kind of makes all of his fights kind of like, oh, okay, so he was never gonna lose then, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Like there was no possible way.
Yeah. So he was just always chilling.
At least Rukia's has like a double-edged sword.
I think they had to do that though, because the fight he has in Thousand Year Blood War arc, like there was no way anyone was winning that.
He has, and he does have a bad fight in Thousand Year Blood War arc,
but he had to literally be broken to compete.
Yeah.
So
that one was gnarly.
Yeah,
anyways.
that was literally the worst.
Yeah.
So, but this one not so much because Hitsugaya is winning pretty easily the whole fight, and Hitsugaya at this point asked him if he would still like to fight. It's like, dude, it's like you could just leave. It's like if you still want to fight. But Koga's like, dude, I have to go after Kariya. It's like, please, like I have to go after him.
Yeah, that's a like watch after your own kind of like, look, we're responsible for our shit. Let's clean it up ourselves. But
so they do the classic Bleach moment where they have a final charge at each other. And basically Koga puts all of his spirit reishi into the last attack and runs at Hitsugaya. And Hitsugaya just basically stands there and slashes him when he comes up. Like, it wasn't even dramatic at all.
It hurts me.
It was very easy. He, like, Hitsugaya goes, fink, and just slashed him across the chest.
I would have loved if Koga got, like, a fucking meme bonk off on him. Like he ran up the thing and bopped him. It's like, if you could just get one little funny choke in.
So we do get to see Koga kind of, like, standing a little bit after he got slashed. Ooh. And Hitsugaya asked him, like, what would you do if you found Kariya? Like, what is your game plan? Like, clearly, he's the strongest. And so Koga is just like, I don't know. But it's like, if anything, this dispute is between him and Kariya, so he had to try. And then Hitsugaya asks again, like they're broing up at this point because I feel like Hitsugaya feels a little bad.
Yeah, well, he should.
Yeah,
fucking asshole.
So he does ask him one more question. He's like, so like when this was all over, where would you go? Like, what was your game plan? And Koga just says, to a future with no wars, and then falls backwards and collapses.
Oy.
And as he collapses, a bunch of ice pillars fall over and just crush him. And that's the last we see of him. So,
all right.
And Hitsugaya goes back to squad headquarters just to finish up this thing and basically tells his boys, like, hey, I defeated the Bount. Go retrieve his body after this is all said and done.
Okay.
He's like, you'll have to wait for the ice to clear, but, you know.
He can't thaw it out himself?
Or he could have just made it not fall on top of him.
I don't think he made it do that.
Doesn't he have control over that shit?
I don't think he
can manipulate ice, but I think he can create ice.
He can create and then control the ice he's created.
Yeah, he can definitely control, like, as it's attached to his sword, but I think when they're pillars, I don't think he can then move them then.
Bit of a dick move is what I'm saying. Yeah. It's just like, hey, you know... it's like having water control. Yeah. Like if Kariya had made a tornado, and then it hit you, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, you gotta wait until he's done spinning around." Yeah. It's like you could have stopped that. Hey, whoa! I can only make the tornado.
It's like, dude, it's off my sword. Yeah, I can't do anything. It's like, sorry,
he's not a waterbender.
Yeah. So if anybody's keeping track, officially just Kariya's left. Yep. We're down to just Kariya
and Ron Tao, but she's not a Bount.
Yeah, so I would count Ron Tao as like a third party.
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm curious to say, Sam's already finished. Mm-hmm. Is Ron Tao secretly evil?
I don't even remember.
So, you take a guess.
I've only ever seen it once. So
I can't remember either, but I feel like it's weird for her to have been standing in the Seireitei.
She is in the area,
and she's just chilling. Like she was made to look evil, and you're like, okay, Seireitei is fucked up.
I'm gonna go with the no.
Okay. I'm gonna be on team yes. I think she's actually evil. She's baited everyone.
She's doing it all to gain secret unlimited power.
She made Kariya. So Kariya this entire time like, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Yes. I'm gonna make.
It was Inception.
Yes. Now she's gonna be like, I made Kariya do this, get the Jōkai or whatever.
So it was all Inception.
Could be.
Bam.
Yeah.
So Hitsugaya goes back and exchange all of his information with Ichigo and the gang. They kind of show up and like, hey, can we hang out at your house? It's like Hitsugaya's like, fucking fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, shit. And then Orihime shows up as well because she's done healing Jidambo. Says like, hey, what's up? And then we get to see Ukitake, and he basically confirms the fact that, hey, the Jōkai crest does contain the power to explode Soul Society. But he does also confirm, but the power is not able to be used at full power until after a short time, and that short time is a day.
Oh.
So if you remember, Kariya first got it, he told Ichigo, if you attack me, I'll blow up all of Soul Society.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you guys a day reprieve, and I'll be back. He wasn't actually able to use the power. So
wow.
What a memer.
He just bluffed his way out of that.
Okay, so we played a game last night. I cannot lie for shit about what I was doing. Kariya's the man.
Yeah, he bluffed so hard.
Oh.
And then so we get to see Kariya. We learn that and we see him, and he's also chilling out in Soul Society. Like daybreak is coming up of the next day.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of chilling. And that's when Ron Tao shows up behind him, and she's like, I don't think she says anything, and she just starts shooting at him.
Oh.
Because she has a gun that shoots reishi.
Hey, Sam, you'd love that.
I know. I was like, fucking guy with gun action, dude. Hell yeah. So like, get him. So Ron Tao basically explains, like, hey, I also figured out how to make a Bount tracker, so I just followed you here. You know?
Okay.
Because she, if anybody is able to do it, it would be her.
Yeah.
Makes sense. The creator.
Yeah, and this is when we get there a little bit of the Ron Tao side of the history. We've heard the Kariya side of history.
Ooh.
Now we get the Ron Tao side of history. And she
was
first
just
started
making sex
hearing.
dolls?
So when she first heard rumors after the explosion stuff of humans with strange abilities, she was one of the first people to go to the real world as like a research team to try and figure out if that has anything to do with the explosion or what they were working on. And that's when she first met the Bounts in the real world. And so she basically befriended them, gathered them up, showed them the cave that they were hiding in, like set them up with a little village, told them that to like always stay together, stay low, stay together. Like she hooked them up big time. Until Ron Tao was like, hey, so I'm going to be gone for probably like a few months. I got to go to Soul Society. And that's when she went to go pitch the idea to Soul Society of like, hey,
keeping them around
like,
and everything.
Let's help them out.
Yeah, these are our rejects.
Yeah, these are like our fault.
Yeah.
But when she returned to the cave, Central 46 decided that any information about the experiments were outlawed. Nobody's allowed to know.
God. Good thing Isaac killed those guys.
And that since they can't pass to the Soul Society, who cares about them? They're never going to be a problem to us.
Wow, rude motherfuckers.
But they do worry that because they are in the real world, they may fuck up the equilibrium, which we talked about before. So then they decide to execute them. And that's when they go to the cave that Rantau so nicely gathered them all up in and start executing fucking all of them.
Damn.
So Rantau does slink away and come back, and she finds just one young boy. Like, she's like trying to run, and she sees one young boy like classic crying, like behind a thing. So she does try to save him. She's like, if I can at least save somebody, that'll be good.
Kariya?
Kariya.
We'll see.
Okay.
So she picked him up and tried to escape him, but she gets seen. So that way they know, like, they call her a traitor. And
traitor.
Yeah. So she's running and kind of like shooting Kido behind her to try to throw him off. But eventually she's like, yeah, I'm gonna hold him off. You need to leave. And she gives him like an amulet, like a weird like square amulet, and it's like, this has the power to like make you stronger. It'll draw out your like power inside of you. It's like, use this and survive. And so Rantau gets captured, and she was held responsible for everything.
Okay. So she's still good so far.
Yes.
Good person.
So eventually the Bounts use that power to draw their dolls out. And eventually they try to take revenge on the Soul Society. And that's when we kind of see like the
whole plan.
Well, not the whole plan. This is way before the plan they're in right now. But like the Van Helsing Wars that we talked about before. That kind of stuff. And then they tried a couple of times actually, and they kept dwindling numbers. Because each time they basically just got thwarted by the Soul Reapers.
So basically, they went into a cave, bombed the fuck out of it, but a few people survived.
Yeah.
And then they were like, chill, we're now stronger, we can defend ourselves. And then vampire hunters came after them, which was the Quincy's.
Yes.
And then the fucking Shinigami were just like, hey, also, we see you from time to time, we're going to slice and dice.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, and then, we cut out of that flashback, and we find out that the young boy was Kariya.
Oh, wow.
That was the young boy.
No.
He did have brown hair in the flashback, and then he got like white hair when he became more powerful, because you just look cool with white hair.
Yeah, exactly. Kakashi.
So
And
that thing wasn't his doll. It
No,
was like a way to
it
make
was like
dolls.
a way. So
yeah.
everybody basically they figured out how to use it, and then basically everybody was like, I'm gonna use that to get my doll. I'm gonna use that to get my doll.
Gotcha.
And Rantau basically explains like, listen, I've lived all this time just to try to save you. It's like, I don't want to kill you or anything, but
Except
I want.
I have a gun.
Yeah. So Kariya is very much like, yeah, well, if you wanted to save the Bounce, it's just me. So you kind of fucked up on that one.
Yeah.
Sorry. Which is great. Which is absolutely great.
Good point.
And so Kariya's kind of annoyed, like, yo, you're like, come on, let's settle down here. And so he tells her, like, you know what? I wanted to save you until the end, but I guess I'll take you out now. Whatever.
Damn.
So
And then he teleports behind her. He's already got his hand through her.
So let's take a brief pause here, because
are we going back to Ishida? Please don't tell me
we're not going to Ishida.
Oh.
So the episode ends, and I want to talk about an after credit scene that pops up here. So we see an after credit scene of everybody getting together for like a giant cookout at Hitsugaya's place, because everybody's hanging out there.
Aw.
And they make a joke about like how bad Rangiku's cooking is, like nobody wants it, nobody wants to taste it. And then they mention that it's okay. Shusui, the 69 guy, he'll like it because he has no sense of smell.
Huh?
They say that in the after credit scene that he does not have a sense of smell.
Interesting.
Is that canon?
I don't know. I don't think they ever go back to it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because like there are people that just can't smell.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he does have the thing over his nose.
So is that canon? Can he not smell?
I wonder if
no, it's a tattoo. Never mind. Not that it was like a
the
bandage
thing
or
that
something.
goes over. It's not a band.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a tattoo. Look at him.
Oh, you're right.
He has like a tattoo, and then he has 69 underneath the cheek, right?
So leave a comment down below if you know that's canon or not, because I thought that was weird, and because it was in just an after credit scene of like them just goofing off.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Rangiku can't cook.
Was Kenpachi there?
No.
Disrespectful. He invites everyone to the fucking barbecue, and they don't invite him over. Oh, I'd be mad.
Oh, dude, I'd love to go to a barbecue at Kenpachi's.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
They eat nothing but meat there.
So we cut back to kind of their fight, and I just want to say at this point, Rantau comes off looking really good. Looks really, really good.
Like hot?
No, like as a good person. Soul Society comes off looking like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So
Are you about to flip it for me, bud?
no, because
Okay.
I'm just saying we do then get the flashback from Kariya's point of view. And he does explain, like, after he escaped, a few and the others of them basically, like, wandered the desert trying to find a new place to live. And basically just...
Wasn't this desert, like, really fucked up?
Yeah.
And people would, like, let go of their thing and they'd fade out?
Yeah, well, what happened is they would wander the desert, and those of them who had slightly higher, like, spirit pressure would just get picked off by hollows. Because they're just out in the open in the desert, and, like, nobody can fucking do anything. And so they just slowly kept getting picked off.
I strongly remember that for some reason.
Yeah.
Like that scene where they're just walking through and people are just getting
left and right.
decimated.
So he does say like some of the Bounts that did have their dolls already, they were just nothing. Like they couldn't do anything. They were pretty much, he calls them bait. He's like, they were just bait to the hollows. It's like they just got taken out. And so Kariya was about to be killed next because, he's a pretty strong guy. And that's when his doll awakened by himself. And he basically was immediately the strongest. He was just like, he got the badass wind Bount, or the wind doll, and he just basically fought side by side with everybody left to survive from the desert. And then his power started to gradually grow, and thus it changed the attitude of the other Bounts around him because, he's just so powerful. What can you do?
Yeah,
so he said he started feeling kind of alone because he is the most powerful. It's lonely at the
No
top.
one,
is what they say.
yeah.
I
That's true.
feel like it would have been like a leadership. Like Kariya is our leader because he's strong. He protects.
He's not a leader at this point.
He's not.
No, he's not.
Who's the leader?
There's some older Bount still because he's still relatively young, especially in Bount years.
Okay, so I get why. Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of the older people decide that they want to try to use the powers of the Quincy's to get into the Soul Society. So this is not the first time they've tried this plan.
Okay, so it's come up multiple times.
Ironically, young Kariya was against doing this. Did not want to do it. He was like, let's just stay here. Let's just make our own life for ourselves. We don't need to go to the Soul Society. He's like, fuck that.
Because it doesn't make sense. Why would you go to the place that made you that wants to kill you?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like
They just wanted revenge.
I feel like they would easily find you if you go to the Soul Society and they're just like, hey, by the way.
The other Bounts seem to think for some reason that if they made a home here, they were just doomed to fail again for some reason.
I think they were fucked either way.
They never explain the reason, but they do say like, the older, more mature group of Bounts are like, listen, our only home is at Soul Society. Like that's where we came from. That's where we were created.
That's just because they're used to it.
That's rough.
And so that's when we get to see that Kariya was there at the fight with the original Quincy's, which looked like the Van Helsing fight. He was there. And eventually that fight got swooped up by the Soul Reapers, and they basically took out most of them. And Kariya was injured by a blast in the middle of that fight, and before he could do anything, it was over. Like, the fight was just over.
Damn, that sucks.
So Kariya left and gathered pretty much the strongest Bounts that he could find that were remaining, and he mastered how to use and summon dolls until the strongest of the strongest Bounts were the only ones left. And that's when they would one day take their revenge on Soul Society, because now he wants revenge based off of what he saw in that fight, where they basically just fucking decimated everybody.
So did the Van Helsing Quincy's get fucking wrecked too?
Yeah, so pretty much all of them, except for a small amount, got wrecked from that.
So Shinigami just showed up and just
Yeah, they
wrecked
basically
everybody.
cleaned up that fight. They're just like, yep, hey, what's up? We're going to clean this up.
Fuck that.
Yeah. So at this point, Kariya has Rantau on the ropes. It's not even close. Rantau is just about to get finished, and then fucking Ishida shows up.
Hey,
Oh, of
You
course.
know it. Everybody was wondering where he was.
she can't die until he gets to see it again.
Yes, seriously. And he ditched everybody else. They were all hanging out, ditched him again because he's a fucking moron. And so
Makes you want to have kids, doesn't it?
So Kariya is such a logical guy. He's like, why are you fighting with the Soul Reapers? Like, why are you on their side? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're just as much on my side of like hating the Soul Reapers.
I would honestly just be mad. I was like, okay, brah, like, you ain't doing shit against me. You ain't gonna be doing shit against her. We already know our sides. Just the whole thing's dumb.
So, and that's when we get like Yoshino kind of explains like, hey, listen, Kariya doesn't only hate the Soul Reapers, he also hates the Bounts. So he's like, he has a lot of self-loathing about being a Bount, being alive for so long, and he wants to one day destroy like all of them.
Everything.
Like both the Soul Reapers and the Bounts.
Oh.
So they fight, and in this fight, credit where credit's due, Ishida's doing a pretty good job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Finally.
He's doing a good job. But this is the fight where his artifact begins to crack.
Oh, the explosion.
And, Ishida's landing a few hits, fucking up Kariya. But Kariya's like, yo, listen, it doesn't matter how much you hit me. I could just heal. I'm in Soul Society.
I've got two questions.
Sure, go ahead.
So he's shooting arrows, which pass through air. Can he not just deflect the air slightly?
So he does deflect some of them, but then some of them will go through.
Some of them will pierce through the air.
And so, Kariya's like, listen, I can heal. I can use the Reishi in the Soul Society. And Ishida's like, well, I can do that too. I can use the Reishi in the Soul Society as well.
And then the other thing, if his bomb goes off, what if Kariya's bomb is ready? Will that chain reaction his bomb?
So from what I know
it's a
of,
power
so
activate?
From what I know of later, it is a power he has to activate. He has to choose.
Blow shit up or be real powerful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real power.
So they're fighting, and at this point we find out Rantau has that original square artifact I was talking about. I don't know how she got it. Don't know.
Pickpocket.
But she has it, and then she starts using it to like siphon off the power of the Jōkai crest from Kariya.
Huh.
I don't know how that works at all.
Okay.
Because at one point, and I don't know if this is in here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now. She stabs him. She kind of takes advantage of him not paying attention and stabs him, and then starts siphoning off the power. I believe is how it works.
Nice.
So then she pulls out that thing, starts siphoning. Rantau asks Ishida to basically recreate the classic scene from Dragon Ball Z at this point because Rantau is right next to her. Yeah. Because she is like holding him, siphoning power off him, and he's like, "You need to shoot both of us. Like, take us out."
And he's like, "No, wait, you look like my babe. Please."
Right. Yeah, he doesn't do it. He does not do it.
Fucking pussy.
So he shoots her at half power, so that he doesn't kill Kariya, it doesn't kill Rantau, and it's just enough for him to take Rantau and move her. And at that point, Rantau starts going kind of out of control. Basically, like you would think she's brawly at this point. She starts screaming, and because she's absorbed too much spirit pressure. Because if you remember, she doesn't really have much now because she got it sealed away.
She's jacked now.
So yeah, she's going out of control, but she keeps telling Ishida like, Kariya is you see this cloud of smoke, and he's still kind of just standing there. He's like, he is still fucked up. Like, you fucked him up. You need to finish him. Like, take him out.
And stupid ass Uryū doesn't.
Yep. So Ishida does the thing that he did to Ichigo very early on in the anime. If you remember, Ichigo was absorbing a lot of pressure when he kind of deflected the Menos Grande.
Oh, okay.
And so he shot arrows up into the air to help release the spirit pressure from Ichigo.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So that
he does that for Rantau.
Okay.
So they use that again for Rantau.
Wait.
So you're telling me he could technically put his hand on Kariya and do the...
He technically could have put his foot on Rantau, just stuck it up through his foot, and then obliterate.
Possible as well. He does not do that, but I feel like
that would
could
just
have
be
been
the smart
something.
move.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing that. He's siphoning. He's like, Rantau, I can't let you die like that. And then his artifact fucking crumbles. Just like right then and there. Just like crumbles. No explosion. Nothing.
Because he's absorbed it.
So
he's released it throughout the whole time.
We'll get to that in just a little bit. And we'll explain how that worked. Because they try to basically leave. Ishida at this point's like, hey, we need to go. Like, we both have no powers at this point. It's like, we need a dip. Because his artifact's gone. So he can't do Quincy shit anymore. He's like, we need a dip. And at that point, Kariya's like, hey, you guys done fucked up. I'm going to kill both of you. It's like fucking idiots. And then it turns into a fucking lemon party because Ichigo shows up. It's like every
lemon party.
It's like everybody and their mom is showing up.
And he puts his foot on Rantau and starts Getsu Gatensho.
It's like, god damn.
Grab onto my leg, lady.
So then Ichigo does tell them to fucking leave. It's like, yeah, you guys need to go. And Ishida actually fucking listens this time. He's like, you know what? You're right. I don't have powers anymore. We call this a day.
Pussy boy. He just gets a little bit of power and thinks he's super cool.
I would adore it if they had put fucking Ishida's grandpa just force ghost me like, the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
I've been telling you all fucking
season.
season.
Like, you listen to him, but not me? What the fuck?
But he didn't choose revenge. He chose love.
Yeah, injustice.
Kawaii.
No, sorry, what? What's justice?
So Ichigo goes Bankai immediately. We're doing it.
Yeah,
finally.
We're doing it.
Okay.
The lad.
And Ishida on his way out runs into Orihime, Chad, Hitsugaya, Rangiku, and that's when he explains why his artifact didn't explode, because he's like, I figured out if I just use the artifact as a way to amplify what little ratio I actually still have, it's fine. But as long as he's not using the actual power of the artifact, it won't blow up.
Oh, so he was just using it as a magnifying glass?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's kind of how he explains that. And Hitsugaya, the good guy that he is, he's like, I'm not going to let Ichigo fight by himself again because, he did kind of save Soul Society before by himself.
He's not capable of doing it right now.
Yeah. So then Rantau gets to explain that the Jōkai is a term for giant reishi generating devices that are in the Seireitei, and they're used to, or that the Seireitei used to use.
Oh, okay.
So they're kind of like generators for reishi back in the day when it was old school.
Okay.
And that when one of the crests exploded, so the one that did explode in the original experiment, it obliterated 1/10 of Soul Society. So they sealed all of them away forever.
So nuclear bombs.
Yeah. If Kariya explodes his, it will set off a chain reaction exploding the other ones and fuck everything else up. And so instead of Hitsugaya going to help Ichigo, Rantau's like, yeah, listen, Ichigo, capable guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let him get his ass beat.
He's like, can you just go seal off the rest of them? Like, just really seal them off, because she's explained the only reason and the timing that this is all happening is that the seals are super weak because they've been sealed away for so long. So if he does it now, we're fucked. But he's like, so if you guys just go back and reseal them, we're chilling. We're fine.
We're only gonna lose another 10th.
Yeah, who cares?
And at this point, it's like a 9th, really.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, it'll be fine. So Kariya and Ichigo fight. They, of course, eventually end up at the fucking execution grounds where Byakuya and Ichigo originally fought, which was just like, I about rolled my eyes out of my head on that one. I was like, dude,
could have picked a better spot.
it's a little too much fan service for me.
Was there not
need to be out there.
I remember this place. I once fucked up a lot of people I shouldn't have been able
Well,
to.
I think at one point, I didn't write this down, but Kariya starts explaining the execution grounds, and Ichigo's like, yeah, I've been here before, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, I got it, thank you.
Yeah. Please hold up.
So
I saved a woman here.
yeah, they're fighting up there, and somebody shows up and cuts into the fight.
Byakuya.
Let's take a guess who it is. And let me throw you for even more of a loop. They start fighting Ichigo. So let's take a guess who we think it's going to be.
Koga.
Okay, you're not allowed to say Koga. You guess Koga. Take your guess.
Oh, now I'm confused.
You said
Could be anybody.
I said
Byakuya.
Byakuya. I'm just gonna.
We're going to go Byakuya?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with it.
Ichinose, Maki, the guy that Kenpachi wrecked
I thought he
all
was
the way on
dead.
the forest.
No!
He is still alive, has made it up there, and attacks Ichigo from behind, like from the little forest. You guys remember there's a little like half forest up there? But Ichigo literally just blocks off his attacks. He's like, yeah, hey, what's up? He just blocks him.
I would have loved if he did the same just slash thing that fucking Kenpachi
Yeah,
did. It's like, okay, who's this guy? And
You're
he just,
nobody.
and he just falls against my captain.
So we get to cut back to Hitsugaya now, and he's going to recruit Ukitake, the chill captain, basically sending the message to everybody so they can go reseal all of these and split up. And then the captain commander sends out the orders through the butterflies like, hey, everybody go to your divisions. We're going to seal all the shit.
Where's the butterfly thing from? I feel like that's somebody's power.
I don't know. I don't know.
But they use it all the time.
Yeah,
It's
they
like,
use it all the way
It's like
through.
when a soul leaves the soul society. It's like a black and red.
Yeah, and it takes them to the real world too. So,
Oh, that's right.
so Ichinose is kind of struggling with Ichigo at this point, and he asks Kariya, he's like, "Yo, I have something I want to ask you, like while I'm fighting or before I start actually fighting." And he's like, "Yeah, what happened to everybody else? Like, where's everybody else at?"
Oh.
And so Kariya tells him like, "Yeah, they're all dead." So then Ichinose just keeps fighting Ichigo.
Oh, because that. Oh, I guess his answer didn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then he teleports behind Kariya and sticks his blade to Karya's neck, and he gives some fucking bullshit speech, which I will kind of sum up here. He says basically the reason that he followed Kariya is because he reminded him of his old captain, you know, like the one that actually cared for his people.
Oh.
The old Kenpachi.
Yes, the old Kenpachi. But then during his fight with Kenpachi, the one that we know now, Zaraki, he remembered something that his original goal was to change the Soul Society into something better, which is the way it should be. But when his captain died, he got warped into revenge, which is a theme that we're hearing a lot here.
Yeah.
Revenge.
And he basically tells Kariya something very similar to what Koga was saying. Like, listen, if you use your powers to rebuild the Soul Society into something better, I'll still follow you. It's like, we're still good. But it's like, if you only want vengeance and to destroy everything, then I'm going to end it here.
Is he saying that while he's got his sword
Yes.
inside?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because what is Kariya supposed to do when he has a knife through his neck?
It's not through his neck, it's held to his neck.
Yeah.
So-
Held to. Okay, he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah. So
Big rip.
you would be like, yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. But Kariya just literally turns around and lifts him like
By the neck.
no, like by his hand, like by his wrist. Okay. So give me your wrist.
Okay.
So
hold up.
like
Oh,
no, it's like this and just
You're the
pulls him up
champion.
like that. Pulls him up like that and then just fucking slashes him. So grabs him by the wrist, lifts him off the ground, and actually stabs him through the chest.
So he's just flexing on small boys.
Yeah.
Straight up. Squishy. He's a squishy.
And
Like
that's
I'm
when
6'5" master race. Yeah.
And so Kariya then turns around and tells Ichigo, like, yeah, I never viewed any of them as comrades. So
Ayo.
like simply pawns to get to my goal.
Oh.
And of course, Ichigo gets mad because
That's your friend.
it's just a shonen thing, you know.
Yeah.
What do you expect? And that's when we get to see Kariya actually summon his doll.
Ooh.
His doll does have a physical form that he can summon.
Oh.
And it's basically a wind sword that comes out of like a keyblade looking hilt. Like his hand transforms into like a keyblade looking hilt and it's a wind sword.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really weird looking. Really, really weird looking. They don't do a good job on the design of that.
There's probably some like value traditions wise, or like it's a real thing somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very possible. So we get to cut to Rukia. If you remember, she got fucked on very early on. She was resting in Byakuya's place, and Rukia wakes up because she senses Ichigo's spiritual pressure, and so she tries to sneak out to go after Ichigo. She's like, I need to help. I need to, whatever. And she runs right into Renji, who is just hanging out right outside the gates. But then she does the classic thing, like, listen, I need you to do me a favor. It's like, and Renji's,
Renji
he's
being
not
a
going to
cuck
say
boy.
no.
Yeah.
Hey.
And she's like, you need to take me up to the Hoyoku where they're fighting. I need to go up there. And Renji, for some reason, doesn't seem to know that's where Ichigo's fighting because he's just like, what? Why? Okay. And so takes her up there. There's a weird discrepancy where I feel like some people can sense spiritual pressure really well and others cannot.
That makes sense.
Like Kenpachi is the obvious one that he can't. But then it's like sometimes like Ishida's good at it. Like he'll like know like, oh yeah, they're fighting over there. Like that's how he found Rantau and Kariya. He's like, I just sensed Rantau.
I wonder if it's like when you live in a house for so long, like you start
you get used to the smells.
But like if you get like a new smell, or if you like actively try to like smell something, you get it. Like maybe I'm making bullshit up for this.
Hey, listen, we're trying to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
So, we get back to more Ichigo and Kariya fighting, which nothing really exciting is happening here. Ichigo eventually he mentions that he noticed Kariya only does counterattacks, so like he'll wait for somebody else to attack and then he'll fuck them up off of that. So he's like, okay, I'll just move really fast and leave no openings. That's when Rukia shows up with Renji, and
there's all the openings.
So Rukia wants to go in and help, but Renji stops her
because she's useless.
And Renji's like, yo, this is Ichigo's fight.
No!
And he's like, which is a great point here. He makes a great point. Ichigo is a match for even Captain like Kuchiki, which is Byakuya.
Yeah.
So it's like just let him do it. It's like, you know, he's not. He doesn't say he's better, but he's a match for him. He can put up a solid fight against Byakuya.
That is a good point. That's a huge kudos.
Yeah. So and then we get to find out more. Here you go. Kariya's power is wind. Mm-hmm. So if he uses his power in the right way, he can generate electricity through the atmosphere.
Okay, no.
He changes the atmospheric pressure in the wind, thus making lightning. So he starts shooting bolts of lightning.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I would
He's
love
like,
that.
Fuck it, dude. I was like, I got wind, I got lightning, and basically all the storm powers.
Exactly.
Like,
Who
It's the
wouldn't
guy with
love
the
that?
fucking pineapple pen or apple pen.
Pineapple
Yeah.
pen.
I have wind. I have lightning. I have pew pew.
And so
Huzzah.
at this point, Ichigo is getting fucked up. It's not going well for Ichigo. It's really not. Because, you know, he's got lightning.
Do
he's
we
like,
have a fucking whiteboard for how many times him and Chad have gotten fucked up?
Because Ichigo's a fast boy, but you know what's really fast?
Lightning.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So we get the classic Bleach moment. This is a classic staple. Ichigo staring down defeat. He's kind of talking to himself. He's like, I can't move my arms. Like I'm like so exhausted. And he starts telling his boys like, move, come on, I need to fight.
Ichigo.
And that's when we see a flash of Ichigo. And he shows up for a second. He's like, it will, and then does a black Getsuga, but does not turn into Ichigo.
Oh.
He does not go full hollow mask mode. He
I
does
thought
not
his
do it.
black Getsuga was his normal Bankai Getsuga.
The black Getsuga is like a special
one.
Kind of like Ichigo one.
Really?
Which
It's like a move he learns from him.
he does do it a lot more often when he gets the mask.
Yeah.
Where almost every Getsuga is the black one.
I forgot that
Yeah.
that it wasn't black all the time.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't black when he was non.
I think it's blue.
It's
Yeah,
blue
this type,
usually,
yeah.
because he learns it from Machine.
Yeah,
Or-
because he does the black Getsuga, and he has the Ichigo eyes, he has the white eyes, but he doesn't have the mask. So he kind of
Nice.
goes like partial, but then Ichigo immediately snaps out of it. Like he doesn't have to really fight. He's just like, what? I don't know what that was. And so it
Everything's
nails
decimated.
Kariya. Like that caught Kariya off guard. It nails him really good. And so at this point, that's the first time Kariya's been hit this whole fight.
Oh.
okay.
And so Kariya's like, okay, well, I'll just heal. But then he notices that he can no longer heal for some reason.
Oh, because
It's
it
like-
had the hollow influence in it?
Because, I think it's because Rontaus did something.
Smart.
Oh,
wow.
yeah, I forgot about
Smart.
that.
Wow, you got a good memory too, Josh. So then he gets the flashback to when Rantau stabbed him.
Hey!
And he puts it together very quickly. Rantau, the whole point that she got close and stabbed him like that was because the special dagger took away that ability from him.
Oh,
So it basically stopped him from
legit.
being able to permanently heal over and over again.
Hey, F's in chat for our boy Kariya.
Yeah.
Long run,
So they
long
fight
run.
some more. Kariya tells Ichigo basically like, listen, I can't heal, but I'm still going to fuck you up.
Yeah,
it's like
it was
straight
fair.
up. He's like, you don't understand the power of the Jōkai crest, and I'm going to show you right now by blowing up the nearest crest.
Oh, that's how that works.
Yes.
Oh.
So Kariya, which this part was really dumb. I do not like this part. So he starts showing off how he is going to do it, and he shoots off like an electric bolt, like a signal. Like
a signal beam.
Which is so dumb. Like, I don't know. But basically it starts going off the cliff towards one of these Jōkai crests, and that's when we hear from off camera Bankai, Senbon Sakura, Kageyoshi,
Yeah.
and Byakuya is there, blocks the thing from going off,
The fucking
the electricity
the
bolt
electricity.
from like reaching the Jōkai crest. He's like, hey, what up? Like, I'm here.
Hey.
It's your boy.
I
What
didn't know
up?
pedals could stop thunder, lightning, you know,
Yeah.
all that shit.
Bring the glasses down.
And then we get Yoruichi show up as well.
Hey.
Yeah, everybody's been
Yoruichi
wondering.
can use lightning powered.
But she really kind of dicks it
think,
here. Yoruichi dicks this here.
Oh.
She explains what is happening to Kariya. Like she,
Why?
Like so, not like what is happening to Kariya's body, but she explains to Ichigo and Kariya at the same time, like, hey, just so you know, all the captains are out sealing off all of the Jokai crest, so you better finish this fight quick or good luck.
So he just starts rapid fire pressing the button.
It's so dumb. Like I don't know why she said that. So she basically tells them both, like, hey, you both have a time limit, and she's like, Ichigo, you better win before you can set off the Jokai crest. And at this point, you might be like, you know what? If there's a time limit, like if it's really time sensitive, why wouldn't they just jump him?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Like
all
slow him
three
down.
of them hop in and jump the fuck out.
Yoruichi's powerful as fuck.
Hold on, he's a match for Captain Kuchiki. You know? Like he's got.
Those are three very powerful guys that you have hanging out up there, and
Yes.
one, powerful guy as well. But you got three.
Yeah.
This is where Yoruichi gives the write-off of her and Byakuya need to not fight.
Okay.
Because that way if Ichigo fails, the two of them are still able to stop the Jokai crest from like, so let me explain. Because you know how Byakuya stopped the electric signal from going off? So if he was the full power stop it, the two of them together would be able to basically block all of them because they're fast.
Yeah.
So he's like, if we're all fighting, he could potentially get an opening and go like, pew, and just like set it up. And then it's fucked.
I mean, I guess they have a contingency plan.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. They're the contingency plan.
I'm all for like you have 30 seconds to win this fight because of like really solid reasons.
And you're just sweating the whole time. Like,
yeah, that's more solid, but still it's a little upsetting.
It's like the Final Fantasy VII fight where you have to beat Sephiroth with the 7-second marker down.
Yeah, that makes you get that reference?
Nope.
Boom.
I thought you did, and I was like, shit.
So Kariya, they kind of fight a little bit more, and at this point, Kariya states that he's used up too much power. Like they've been fighting for a while.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, there's only one thing left to do, and they keep fighting. We don't really know what that one thing left is until just now, where Yoruichi notices it, that because he can no longer absorb reishi and keep like refilling himself,
He's depleted.
his attacks, for some reason, are still getting stronger. She's like, why is that happening?
Oh.
Like I don't get what's going on. Because he's out of spirit energy, which is like the normal stuff people would use to fight. So he's using the power of the crest. He's like siphoning off the power of that crest to keep himself going.
That's smart. This guy's smart.
Yeah.
I also, just to go back for a second, if she hadn't revealed the plot,
I know.
she could have easily joined Ichigo and
Fucked him up.
wouldn't have known like that's what
It was dumb. It was really dumb.
She could have helped in the background.
Yoruichi's a great character, but when I saw it, I was like, what a dumbass. Like,
Yeah.
why would you just say
Well,
the
that's why
plan?
it's a filler.
Literally could have had two people in there. She could have been doing fucking reconnaissance, or not reconnaissance.
Just bouncing
And
around
So
and
this
hitting
is
him.
when she kind of sets it up in better terms of what the stakes are. She's like, will Kariya's body hold out long enough for the Jokai crest to eventually release, or will Ichigo defeat him first? That's kind of the stakes we're at now.
And then the episode ends.
I don't
Dragon
know
Ball
if that's
Z
where it ends, but
voice.
it's very possible that's where it
Dragon
ends.
Ball Z voice.
And at this point, the rest of the Ichigo gang shows up at the hill as well.
Of course.
And then Rukia goes ahead and gives the information like, yeah, let's not interfere. We'll leave it to them. They got it under control. But they're all watching.
It's
They're
just
there.
cheerleading squad?
Yeah, they're there for a
Yep.
fight. So, and Rukia says that the reason we should let Ichigo fight is because she's much more of like looking out for Ichigo's kind of like, I don't know, pride, inner well-being. Because she explains that Ichigo probably views himself to be kind of similar to the Bounce, where in the fact that, he's a human, but also really different from humans.
Yeah.
And he's between two worlds because of it. So just like the Bounce,
Why
it's
do
like
they have to make sense with that? That's not cool.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
appreciate that.
So then she's like, thus Kariya, like at least she doesn't say morally, but that's kind of what I get like from a Naruto fight.
Yeah.
It's like he can only be stopped by someone like Ichigo. Like that's the only person that he'll like kind of get.
Or
And-
Koga.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Koga, really.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
he under a bunch of blocks of ice.
Yep.
So as we've seen a million times before, Kariya and Ichigo eventually decide they're just both going to go ahead and do a final attack. We'll just put everything into one blast. Here we go. We're going to knock it off
The
right
usual.
now. Which, let's just stop for a second. Horrible game plan for Kariya. He knows
Wait.
it's a time limit game.
Yeah.
So why would Kariya go ahead
He's
and do
getting
that as well?
desperate.
Time limit game. He can't heal anymore.
Yeah.
And he's always done counterattacks.
Yeah.
So
He just has to wait it out. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. So at this point, they clash swords. And we get the classic, they're clashing swords, and they start spewing philosophical garbage at each other. And they kind of like putting each other to the test. Ichigo claims here that Kariya's never done anything for the Bounce.
Oh.
Because Kariya claims that the Jokai crest is backed by the power of all Bounce. And so Ichigo's like, yeah, well, what did you ever do for him?
Ew.
Yeah. But to that, Kariya's like, you don't know my life. Like, what are you talking about?
Like
It's
just in the last few
You
hours.
know my
I
name,
did-
not my life.
Yeah, he dicked a few of them in the last few hours, but for the last couple hundred years, he saved them.
Like, and we mentioned before, he was originally against coming here,
Yeah.
but then
Yes,
he
he
saw
was.
Soul Society dick on them, and he was like, hey, fuck it, let's
He's
do
like,
it.
we gotta
Let's
take
take
on
fuck
it
you
them
guys,
too.
I'm
Yeah.
coming in too.
And then he starts to warn Ichigo of, listen, we're similar. You're strong, and the people fear those who are stronger than them. So one day, even his closest friends, and it shows like Kariya losing his friends, and it shows Ichigo his. He's like, even your closest friends will start to fear you because of it, because you'll become too strong.
Pusai.
And then so Kariya's like, where's the logic in protecting those people? It doesn't make any sense if they're just gonna fuck you over.
So you did bring up a good point. So Kariya clearly is like, okay, I've had enough. I'm gonna fuck up the Soul Society. And then when people start dissenting on him, it's like, no. I don't think you guys understand. This shit happened. You are going to fuck the plan up.
Yeah.
We need to get back at them. Otherwise, we're going to get murdered one by one eventually.
Yeah.
So I'm now understanding why he became an asshole.
Yeah.
He had to, kind
Oh,
of.
fuck.
So,
That sucks.
and, he gives that nice explanation to Ichigo. What do you think Ichigo's response to that is?
Shut
You
up,
suck.
you dummy.
I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
I do it because I want to, when he's talking about protecting his friends.
Yeah.
And he would give his soul for them.
Oh.
And Kariya's like, okay, well, you're going to lose because of that.
Knock him off!
And Yoruichi freaks out because at this point he activates the Jokai Crest, like in the middle of this clash. And so she starts telling Byakuya, like, yo, it's like, we need to stop it. It's like, quickly. And Byakuya just does nothing, just stares and watches the fight. Like, he's got confidence in his boy.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, no, not going to do that.
He kicked my ass once. I believe you can do it
He's
again.
just standing there watching that. So they kind of stop this clash, back up, go for another clash. And that's when we get the classic samurai. Like, they slash through each other.
But everything goes to black?
It doesn't go to black, but they
Oh.
slash through each other. They're standing back to back. Ichigo collapses. Ichigo collapses to his knee. And then we get Kariya he goes, I guess it's all over now.
And he fades.
He goes, I'm a bit disappointed. I guess I won't get to see you walk down the same path that I have. And then he goes, Ichigo, and then turns to dust.
I love you.
And those are his
I love you.
So I really wonder what he was gonna say there. Like,
So
feel
Ichigo
like,
did get cut.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Ichigo got dicked on,
Yeah.
but he ultimately won.
I mean, Orihime's there. He's not dead.
How did he kill him, though?
So he a little later, and I think I might bring it up again, but he basically he can't heal anymore,
Okay.
and he's used up all of the power of the Jokai Crest.
Wow.
And I think they do say
So,
here you go. My next sentence. Let me tell you real quick.
okay.
So Ichigo kind of is asking the same question.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, well, like, I don't understand.
I didn't kill his doll.
And so Ichigo explains to everybody, I think he's thinking this, or like he's kind of like reminiscing, and he says that at the end, it seems like Kariya decided to just submit on his own.
Oh, okay.
And so he's asking Rukia, and he's like, do you think that was his plan since the beginning, like to cause all of this stir and then just submit? And so Rukia, who has turned into a philosophical genius for some reason,
Pretty much, yeah.
and she says, who knows? Seems like that what he wanted was to bring his never-ending life to a close.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go out with a fucking bang.
So, and that's when we get this, like, we're kind of in the recap mode at this point, which they do after all the arcs. They kind of like have a nice little hangout sesh. And so we get Soul Society finally admits they were at fault for the bounce, even after they're already fucking dead. We get a lot of self-introspection here about Kariya in the fight. Ichigo says that Kariya wanted to make sure no one knew of the bounce and no one will ever know they existed.
No, wait.
So he destroyed every
But
record.
by doing that, he's kind of made it so everybody knows who the bounce is, and they bring that up in there.
Yeah.
And we get more kind of Ichigo's doing a lot of thinking. Kariya's left a big stamp on him.
That's good.
Because then he's going like, Kariya, he couldn't stand to see history kind of repeat itself over and over, because he talks about like the circle, and he saw the bounce get defeated multiple times by the Soul Reapers. And he says like, when you live forever, things continue unchanged. So he wanted to really just try to break the cycle is what his ultimate goal was. And then we get a nice kind of reminisce with Rukia, where she's thinking back to the time she first got transferred to Karakura Town, like way back when. And then we get to see some of Renji's flashbacks. And we get to see when he first got his his letter saying that he's going to get the promotion to Lieutenant of Squad 6.
Nice.
And it's really cool because like he's hanging out with Shinji, Momo, and then Ikaku is in there as well. And
Ikaku was in Squad 6?
No, like they're
okay,
hanging
like,
out.
they're
They're
hanging
hanging
out.
out.
I feel like
Wait, Shinji was there?
Yeah, they're all hanging out. They're friends.
Shinji's a visor.
Oh, did I say Shinji?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Wabisuke.
Oh, Izuru.
What is his other name?
Kira.
Kira. Okay.
I think it's Kira.
Yeah.
I would have loved if they just dropped Shinji.
Yeah, no.
I was like, whoa.
Wabisuke guy was there.
Okay.
And they're just hanging out, and then Ikaku basically calls him out. Like he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be vice captain of Squad 6." And he's like, "Well, don't you think it's time to patch things up with Rukia at this point?" Then he's like, "You're close enough at this point. I think you should talk to her." And so, of course, this event in time is happening the same time as Rukia is getting ready to leave to go to Karakura Town.
Oh.
So Renji's like, no, I'm going to wait for her to come back because the ceremony doesn't happen for a month. So he just got like his letter saying like, congrats, you're going to get it.
Got you.
He's like, I want to wait till after the ceremony where I'm officially a vice captain and then I'll tell her.
Oh, and then he
But
beats
then
the shit out of her.
We know everything that happens. We then flash over to Ron Tao's underground hideout where we see she has retrieved Koga.
Hey.
So, and she's retrieved Koga, and she's joined by Yoruichi for some reason.
Huh.
Really weird pairing here.
But she kind of knew everything, right?
Yes, she kind of knew everything. Ron Tao went there, and then you find out that actually it was Yoruichi who carried Koga there. Yoruichi retrieved Koga.
Wow.
Yeah, and brought him all the way to Ron Tao. And so Koga is kind of asking all the right questions here. He's like, well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like what's the point?
And then the drill comes out, and they're like, we got experiments.
And
baby.
Yoruichi, also a philosophical genius, I don't know. That is her reasoning for carrying Koga there. And so Koga's like, yo, listen, if the fate of the Bounce were to just disappear, then it's like I have to oblige as well. It's like, like what's the point? And Ron Tao is like, listen, I don't plan on staying here in Soul Society. For obvious reasons, they've dicked her nonstop.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she does say, her job's done here. She doesn't have anything else to do, so she doesn't know what she's going to do. But she would love to hear the story of the last Bount. Like she would
that's sick.
They're gonna wifey up.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna go travel together.
Hey.
And so Yoruichi's going to leave, and Koga is like, Yoruichi, can you do me a favor? And he's like, tell Ichigo thanks for stopping Kariya. And that's the kind of the last we see of them.
Oh, okay.
And so you might have forgotten that Cone was part of this arc.
Because there was so many other cool guys.
Yes, there were a lot of mods. All the mod souls came.
Is he still in Karakura Town?
No, we're in Soul Society still.
Yeah, I think Cole goes with
He is in Soul Society. Cone is.
Oh my
There's
God.
actually really funny. Like a lot of what he was doing was part of the after credit scenes, like of them just memeing on him. Yeah. And at one point, he like falls in love with like a girl, like a local tavern, because he got left behind.
Yeah.
And so he goes and he finds who are the two? Shusui, the 69 guy. And I want to say the Wabisuke guy too. I can't remember, but he's basically telling them, he's like, yeah, it's like I met this really beautiful woman. It's like we hit it off, but I couldn't stay. I had to leave so I could come help.
Because he's such a
he's
wandering
so
soul.
He's like, show me where the Bount is. And they're like, is that a guy? It's like
oh, because his voice is kind of high pitched.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's a guy. Everybody knows that's a guy.
Yeah.
It's like, and Cone's like, what?
Oh, the chick that.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
no.
Yeah, the chick at the bar was a guy the whole time.
Oh no.
Poor Cone.
So, Ichigo eventually runs into Cone, who is trying to sneak into Rukia's room, which is at Byakuya's place. And Cone gets upset that he wasn't let in on any of the fighting because he would be so much better.
Yeah.
And at this point, Ichigo's like, "Yeah, listen, you're not gonna want to do that because Byakuya will kill you. So let's go. Come on." So we get some more inward looking of Ichigo.
Okay.
And basically, he's saying like everybody wants more power, like Kariya. But then in the end, for Kariya, he didn't have any other choice but to destroy himself. So Ichigo returns home, which actually doesn't happen. So I write these notes as I'm watching them.
Oh, okay.
And they do this weird thing where they show him home, and he starts to like recognize patterns of like history being the same. Like, oh, look, I see all my friends again. I do the same thing. They ask me the same questions. I go defeat hollows. I do the same thing. Yeah. It's like then some next big event's going to happen.
Wow. Why do they call themselves out like that?
Yeah. But then Ichigo like even calls himself out more because like the one thing that doesn't change is his powerlessness. Like he's like, I'm always like, I just don't have enough power. And so he goes to visit like a little boy spirit, and I don't think it's the same one from the beginning of the show. The
beginning was a girl.
So he does visit a girl after this, and I don't know if they're the same one. Because he visits a boy spirit, but he finds out he's gone. Oh. And he's talking to like an old man spirit. He's like, oh yeah, he's gone. He left. And so Ichigo is like, yeah, this happens sometimes. And he's like, they'll disappear, and he never knows what happens to him. But he's like, they do leave behind a blood stain that only he can see on the ground. So I think it's pretty heavily implied he got fucked.
Yeah, or eaten.
So and then he finishes like, he's like, this happens all the time. I can never protect them, and it breaks my heart. I was like, oh,
poor Ichigo.
So
dude, he's so young.
Yeah.
So then he goes to another spirit, which is the girl spirit, and I don't know if it's the same one from the beginning. I could have checked, but I forgot. And he delivers her some flowers, and he basically monologues about how he hopes he has enough power to shatter fate, and he starts wondering, like, is his power to shatter fate? Like, is that what he wants to do?
That's dope.
Or will he be consumed like Kariya eventually?
Well, I feel like that's a pretty nice little tidbit for him and
I like
fight.
that.
Yeah.
Because
Aizen's fight and the end of the 1,000-Year Blood War, that comes in.
anti-fate.
Big time. So, obviously there was no way they planned that because it's a filler arc.
Yeah.
But fucking kudos, that hit the
that
nail
was
on the
great.
head. Holy shit.
Yeah, they did a good. Okay,
That was great.
Like
I liked it.
They had a cool arc. They wobbled at the end,
Yes.
and then they got to the very end. They're like, "Hey, you know what? We nailed
We're
that
gonna
shit."
we're gonna leave you with a
I
nice
think
little
that was
piece.
solid. So here's where I get confused because this was on the real world, remember? But then we cut back and we see Ichigo and Ukitake talking, like on a hill in Soul Society. So like Ichigo's kind of thinking to
Is it
himself.
flashback?
I don't know because
He's
like
force projecting himself.
It's weird for it to be a flashback because he's thinking of the knowledge he has now with Kariya, and it made it seem like those events were happening, but then like actually he's still in Soul Society.
Weird.
So it was kind of weird.
I wonder if that was just an error.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they didn't think about it.
So Ichigo's on a hill, kind of looking off into the sunset. Ukitake comes up, and
I
they
do
have,
remember this actually.
Yeah, they have a nice little talk about Kariya, and like he kind of shoots some ideas off of Ukitake because he's a wise guy.
Yeah.
He's like he knows, and Ukitake says Kariya seemed to view history as like a vicious cycle because you live you're immortal
Forever,
you live
yeah.
forever. So he thought that he could use force to forcefully stop this vicious cycle.
He did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah. And so Ichigo, like they basically, the last sentence said in that conversation is history repeating itself wouldn't be so bad if you had friends, which is something that Kariya didn't have because he lost them all. So that was a bit of a feels bad man. And kind of to TLDR, everything we just talked about, I left out conversations, but a lot of talk about history repeating itself and whether or not that's good or bad. So there's a lot of debate that happens in this last episode of, is it good? Is it bad? History repeats itself, yada yada.
Well, yeah. What's the argument? If it doesn't repeat itself, then you forget the lesson you learned.
Yeah.
So then you don't relearn the lesson, so that you just keep moving on.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to both sides, and there
Yeah.
were like different views on it. But
And then they say only fools repeat history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we end. I only did about 7 episodes this podcast because I wanted to end around on the Bount arcs. So I didn't want to like start the next one and have it be all funky. So at the very end of the Bount arc, does anybody remember how the Bount arc ends? I'm talking tail end of the episode.
You seen Arrancar.
Seen Arrancar.
That's it.
Grimjaw and them don't show up, do they?
They don't show up for a while.
So we see Shinji.
Oh,
really?
We see
Wow,
Shinji.
we see Shinji that
we
early?
get his first look of him standing on top of a light pole, same exact way Rukia did at the very first episode, if you remember. And then they do a parallel of Rukia's original entrance. I don't know if you remember it, but the original Rukia entrance, she's on a light pole, kind of like Itachi style, and they show like Japanese text will slowly fade in, and so I have Rukia's here. Rukia's text is, "We tremble in awe of that which cannot be seen, and we worship that which cannot be seen as well." That one was weird translating on Netflix subs, I'm saying, by the way, because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then it says, "And the blade is swung," and then Rukia jumps off to go find somebody.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I
then
like that.
Shinji's parallels that one because he gets the same sort of entrance. Rukia says something like, "I sense high spiritual pressure," and then she dicks off.
Yeah.
Shinji says, "What an interesting town." And so his is, "We tremble in awe of that which cannot be seen." Same exact entrance. His is, "And so the blade is swung once again in the name of the mask." And then he jumps off.
Ayo.
And then you hear the music.
Yeah. And it goes the end credit scene.
Okay.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
So they weren't in Karakura Town that whole time? The
I guess
Vizards?
not.
the visors. Yeah. Ichigo, I still don't know. So if we're talking if Ichigo was actually in Karakura Town, like for the flashbacks and stuff, I
for
don't know.
Vizards.
For Vizards. He meant like, were they there the whole time?
He
Like
made
as
it
of
seem
the
like
beginning.
he just showed
So
up.
yeah, that's a great question because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they were.
You would know better than me because I have no idea.
That seems just weird because I feel like they were just there. But I feel like Karakura Town's this massive fucking place where you could just like...
Yeah.
It's got a Bount mansion. It's
got a
got a cave somewhere. It's Karakura's giant.
Yeah.
But we only go to Ichigo's house, the
school,
the
playground,
the fucking graveyard.
And Urahara's
And
shop.
Urahara's
shop.
Yeah. And then I think the visors get a warehouse.
Yeah, they
They
got a
do get a
warehouse. They
warehouse,
got a
yeah.
fucking giant warehouse.
Which I'm so excited to get the visor part, dude. That shit
That is so wild to
dope.
me. I genuinely didn't feel like it went...
I just like hearing Shinji's music in the background.
He's got one of the best theme
Yeah.
songs.
Oh, really?
You don't
Yeah.
hear his music when he shows up.
No, yeah.
You don't hear it.
We'll play it out right after this
It's
because copyrights.
so good.
I had no idea Bount went right into Vizard
Yep.
Arrancar.
So I do feel like, and I could be wrong on this, just preface that. I think there is another 6-episode filler arc that comes pretty quick after this.
I'd be.
Is it just stuff with the kids, like with his friends?
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure, like, because this is episode, I think we're in the 100,
like 100 something,
I
right?
think we're like a very low 100.
And when did we end Soul Society arc? Was that 63 or something like
I
that?
almost
60
wanna
or
say, like,
70.
56.
Whoa.
So this is almost a year of fillers with another month and a half of fillers or something like that. Okay.
So I do think there's another small filler arc that comes close because they're still close to the manga.
Yeah.
So I do think there's like some more gaps that come in, but I'll be interested to see where they slot that in at because we do see Shinji. At the very end we see Shinji.
That is wild.
So
I
what
don't
do you guys
remember
think of
that.
the Bount arc? Let's reminisce about the Bount arc. As a whole,
it wasn't terrible.
so my
Like, I get why people really disliked it.
so I do think, and we mentioned it before when we talked about it, that the biggest reason to be disliked is it stops the story.
Yeah,
the
it just
story,
there's no progression.
the story that you want to see, which is the Aizen story, which you were saying last podcast, like, why do I want to, it's like, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to see that. But I think if you can go back, like, I'm watching it, I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know what to expect.
It's
I'm
on
going
a
in,
weekly
I'm seeing
basis.
this thing. I'm watching 2 episodes 5 times a day, or no,
5 times a week.
5 times a week.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
so it's like, I'm really taking it in as it just comes. And it's good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
So it's better to when you can binge watch it.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a sense.
100%.
Yeah.
The weekly basis would suck dick watching that.
I think
Yeah, you're
that
right,
was
'cause-
actually the reason why I stopped watching Bleach until you guys got
Yeah.
back into Arrancar, because I remember ending around the mansion.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Kariya fucking people up in the mansion and the chick dying, and then I was just like,
I
okay.
think at that point, the Arrancars were already a huge thing in the manga, and me, Danny, and Sam.
Because I remember
Well,
reading Bleach manga
So,
with you guys.
The actual Soul Society, like when the Bounts get to Soul Society and they invade, it's not very long.
Yeah.
So like most of the bulk of it is the mod
Before-
soul part beforehand, and then the Bounts in the real world. That's most of it. And then the actual invasion part is probably like 20 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
It's still a long time, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Like
like
about 5 months.
comparative is like that could have been one and done. Like we
Yeah.
could have called that. But I like a lot of the characters. The characters I didn't like Old Man Bount, the guy with the whale.
Baragon.
He wasn't really cool.
Fake Baragon.
I like the fan and the sword chick. I just like the way she died. That was
Yeah.
good. She
Yeah.
was like, okay, that was fun. GG.
That is the way you would probably go out as a
yeah.
Bount. Like, if you really did get dicked, you're like, okay, I see you.
Yeah.
But now we got Stark's future weapons.
Yeah.
Oh, huge.
Well, what? Stark shoots Sero, right?
Ceros,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Is Sero? Are there Seros just Reishi?
I have no idea.
I think it's a condensed form of it.
I feel like Reishi is one of those things that gets
'cause,
slung
like-
around in the
yeah.
beginning, and
Because
then they
Seros
just dip
are
out.
super powerful, and
Yeah.
they're even told they can't use Seros whenever they want. And it's specifically a specific type of Sero that Grimjo just doesn't give a fuck and will use.
Doesn't he? And that's why Yami does like the balas, right?
Yeah,
Or
because
something
it's
like
just
that?
it's like
super
like
fast,
like a super fast compressed Sero instead of like the full beam, and
and it doesn't do the damage.
Yeah, and Grimjo uses Grand Ray Sero.
That's right, Grand Ray.
So who is the first of the Espada that we get to see? Is it
It's
Ulquiorra?
it's Yami and Ulquiorra because they come in and then they
Yeah.
beat the fuck
But
out
they
of.
fight. Okay, so let
But I
me just
feel
go
like-
from my memory. Hitsugaya, Ikaku, Matsumoto.
No, they come to Karakura Town first, and then they beat the fuck out of Chad.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they're in a playground and they get
Because
fucked
is that
over.
true though? Because
I
that's
thought it was the nighttime. So there's the park in the day where it's Ulquiorra
Okay,
and Yami.
wait. Let's take bets on what happens. So from what I remember, Hitsugaya, Ikaku, Matsumoto, they come to hang out at Soul Society, and that's when nobody Arrancar show up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're
and
just
they're
trying
like,
to
Wait, I'm thinking of when Grimjo shows up.
because
That- but Grimjo shows up after them.
After them.
After
So it is
Ulquiorra?
Yami and
Oh,
Ulquiorra
you're
because
right.
No. I think it's before.
Okay,
Is it-
I'm saying nobody's and Grimjo show up first. So
that's what I'm at too.
Okay.
Because I think the nobodies fight.
Yeah.
because you see Grant Fisher, and that's what really
oh,
sets
do we
a
get
lot
Grant
of it.
Fisher right now? No,
Yeah.
we don't get. Do we get Grant Fisher right
Yeah,
now?
you get Grant Fisher before you meet the Espada.
Oh no way! I'm so excited for that.
pretty sure
Because
you
that
meet
means
Grant
that you
Fisher
get Ichigo's
and
dad immediately.
yeah, almost immediately afterwards.
That's a lot.
That's I don't know.
Because I remember
Because I remember this being a pop off fucking arc.
yeah, because you're like, oh wait, what the fuck? Grant Fisher is becoming more powerful.
Like
and
he's
then
got a sword and everything.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're thinking it goes Grant Fisher, then into Ulquiorra and Yami showing up.
yeah,
And then nobodies.
and then nobody's.
We're going.
It's nobodies. Ikaku shows his Bankai.
Yes, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm
And
at.
then they get dunked on, and
Yes.
then
They
actually
barely win.
They barely win. Grimjo shows up, and then Ichigo
Yeah.
does
No,
the first
that's
scar.
because that's
on
when Grimjo gets in trouble for killing a bunch of other Arrancars and then gets demoted, right?
Okay, so Grimmjow is his boy, so I feel like he should know.
Those are all his. Those
were
are all his
Grimmjow's partners,
lieutenants, right?
They're
and
like
they all
his-
got dunked on. He got mad at them, and they wanted to have fun.
Yeah,
I think
because
was the
he
issue.
gets his arm chopped off.
He gets his arm chopped off and his number 6 removed, right?
He gets burned off, and then Loopy or whatever his name is comes in.
Yeah, but I think Ichigo shows up, sees Grimmjow, and does a black Getsuga.
The reason
and
that
scars.
Because he does
Grimmjow for
cross
the
arm
first time.
Yeah.
Because the reason that I'm thinking it goes that way, because I swear that Ulquiorra and Yami show up, and that's when,
They convince Orihime to like dip out.
well, no, but Urahara and Yoruichi show up, and they save them.
Yeah, I do remember
So,
that.
and
being
I
saved.
don't think that happens so quickly. I don't
Because
think
the
that's
reason
case.
they get Orihime for healing powers, and I feel like it's a borderline weird apology. They show up like, we're sorry that our other guy showed up. We're taking her though.
Okay.
And then Grimmjow uses her to heal his arm, and then the number 6,
Okay.
and then kills the
well, let's
one dude.
place our bets there.
So I'm saying nobody's Grimmjow.
Okay. 'Cause
And you think Grand Fisher?
We're about to get there very soon. Probably next episode we'll start seeing who's going to be correct. Do we have anything else to say about the Bount arc?
I
guys miss
just
anything
gotta
else?
say, I like getting older and coming back to stuff like
Yeah.
this, because I feel like the sentimental value and like the philosophy would have probably been lost on us when we were watching
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, well, especially because we were a lot younger during that time.
Yeah, like we would have identified hard with "shut up, I don't care."
Yeah, exactly.
We were very hard in the camp of what the fuck. Like,
Yeah.
let's go, because I think we switched to manga at that point. We're like, fuck that.
Yeah, I
know
think
for
we
sure
did.
We switched to
Yeah.
it
Because
really
I was
quickly on.
watching it up until the point where they got to the mansion and all that shit happened, and then we started reading them at school, and we would all talk about it right after.
every
in
Wednesday or
lunch.
something like that.
Yeah.
Right? They would
We
get
show up
released on a
really early.
different.
It'd be
Yeah.
so good. I can't wait to get to the part. I was going to talk about, but when the big fight starts happening, we have a lot of high school memories off reading Bleach. So let's call it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting into the Arrancar arc next. Watch the Bount arc, you guys. Give it a chance. Go back and watch it. Everybody raves about the other filler arc. Watch the Bount arc.
And you only watch 10 episodes a week, which I mean,
Yeah.
in like normal
Yeah.
standards, you could probably watch the entire Bound arc in like a week.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you really
definitely.
wanted to.
You marathon that easy. So
would you say you could do that though?
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel like there's any like dragging or anything like that?
No, you can watch it easy.
Okay.
It would get a little repetitive though of having to see like the mansion fight straight into the Soul Society fight, because we've like that's 2 big fights in a row, and that's
Yeah.
the part that I wish they would have cut.
Let me know when you get into the Upper Espada stuff.
Okay,
Like
okay.
when
Well,
they
we
go
will.
to Hueco Mundo,
Yeah.
because I'll join you and watch
Okay,
it.
sure.
And then I want to be there for when they're fighting Aizen and they do that weird
Shit.
their Shinigami releases.
Yes.
Is this gonna be
wanna watch
like
that.
fucking Jump
Okay.
to Zuka all
It'll
over
be like,
again?
yeah, a little bit like
We're
that.
gonna have to watch all the way up to this.
So when we get to the part where they're invading Hueco Mundo,
Hueco Mundo.
we get Jose.
That's
on board.
when I'll hop in.
Lord.
Okay, so thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that. Bount arc, once again, I just want to say fantastic. So we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Thanks for watching.